Hello, all you knowledge seekers and piano fanatics and geeks out there. It's good of you to join us for another PSI episode. The gentleman you see before me with his brain always plugged and thinking for us is
Mark.
And I am
the very handsome and talented Mr. Elmer.
Elmer. Yes, Elmer.
And we are
Mark and Elmer's PSI. Piano Scene Investigations. And welcome back, all you folks who have been with us for the last, 37? Well, 36 episodes.
Today will be 37.
Okay, welcome to number 37, folks. Welcome old and new folks, viewers. We have our little friends back.
Remember their name?
Grogu.
Grogu.
Yeah.
And Eager.
Eager. Okay, Eager. Of course.
Spelled I-I-I-G-G-R-R. Eager.
Oh, hello, good Robbie. Yes. And boy, we have a show for you today. My goodness. So, how's your week been?
Quiet. Yeah.
Quiet?
I did just good work. Some different things. I got some kettles in the fire, or whatever the expression is.
Okay.
But nothing big.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, it's been very, very busy at the house.
Oh, yeah?
Kathy's work schedule has changed.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's a permanent change. And so the hours for me being house husband, pianist, teacher, entertainer, researcher.
That's changing too.
Is changing too. So I've been pulling in some late night hours through the archives, and boy, am I finding some incredible stuff. I'm often wondering if the iceberg's actually in their house.
I sometimes think so. Why don't you bring it over here?
Yes, I do.
And of course, I've never seen his icebergs.
No, believe me, Kathy would kill me. Kathy would kill me. All right, she would. Anyways, I hope you've been all enjoying all of our episodes. There's still plenty more to talk about. There really is. So, let me ask you this. How often have you ventured outside the realm of classical piano music?
Oh, I like to play cocktail music, and I've been hired to do it sometimes. But I play from the notes.
Uh-huh.
I don't play by ear. I can improvise, but I tend to prefer to improvise on the score that I've got in front of me.
Right.
So I tend to, dress things up.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that. So you're meaning outside of classical music?
Outside of classical music. You do ragtime?
What's that?
Ragtime?
Oh, I played ragtime, yeah. There's some actually interesting adapted ragtime in our repertoire. William Bolton's pieces, but yeah, I play ragtime. And actually I like to play some of the South American composers who've written, one might say, dance-related music or something.
Yeah.
For example, I love Piazzolla.
Piazzolla,
but I don't know. He's kind of semi-classical.
He's semi-classical. He is.
But I played in a tango orchestra when I was living in Europe in Cyprus. We had a small tango orchestra. We got invited to play. We were in Norway and Lebanon. No, not Lebanon. Jordan. They went to Greece, Hungary, things like that. And had some wonderful experiences. We had wonderful times. I miss that. I haven't really looked it up or gotten into it here. I'm sure almost everything internationally is here in Columbus.
Right.
I just don't know. I just didn't look very hard for it. But it was a big part of my life over there. We traveled a lot and did a lot of playing. I'd say that's probably right. I'm not a jazz pianist. I love jazz. Most anybody, almost everything. I mean, I have certain favorites.
Yeah.
I love Oscar Peterson.
Oscar Peterson.
Just the sound. Of course, played Bösendorfer's, which I think helped because I like to play Bösendorfer.
Yes.
I like that sound that it makes. And very singing sound, but not too overblended, perhaps. A little forte piano-ish still.
Yeah.
A little straight strung-ish kind of sound, although they're not. That's sufficient.
Okay. Well,
How
my
about
experience. All right.
Well, I know with you.
Okay.
This guy's a jukebox.
Well, sort of. We've just had different experiences. Okay. You know, as you well know, our viewers know. You know, Dr. Marc and I. You know, we were pretty much born, raised to play lots and lots of classical piano music. You know, from Bach, Mozart, Haydn, Beethoven, Chopin. Let's just say a lot of it. Okay. Now, we talked about child prodigies a couple of episodes ago. I was not a child prodigy. I mean, yeah.
He's an adult prodigy.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, growing up, all right, my mother was my piano teacher, okay? And by no means was she really an expert in piano pedagogy. You know, her father taught her piano lessons as her father taught her sisters and her brothers as well. Okay. Now, for all you pianists out there who are Filipino and are about roughly 50 plus years old, you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say this. And I'm sure a lot of you understand that, you know, the Filipino piano student back in the 70s, I wouldn't say was mainstream piano students as we consider during even that time. Okay. The one thing I noticed in common was the amount of salon piano music that we had to learn. Okay. Now, when I say salon music, I use that term very, very loosely. Okay. I'm not talking Chopin. I'm not talking little, you know, I don't know, how would you say, salon pieces like the Moshkovsky, Chopin, or even, I don't know, who else did it? Did Schumann write any salon pieces, would you say?
No?
No?
I don't think so.
All right, just, well, okay, you'll know what I'm talking about when we get into our segment of the day. Viewers, old and new, I will introduce you and welcome you to PSIs, all pieces considered.
Oh.
Yes, this is going to be interesting to me. I can't
So
all right.
This is the one with the breaking news kind of music I remember, and this typewriter.
Exactly. Oh, where's that?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Now I hear it. It's coming in loud. It's much louder. I think it's been gone for a while, and now it's back.
Well, we had done this segment for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome back, whoever you are. So, anyways, let me mention a few composers here and see if you recognize any of them. Okay. For me, you know, I know some of these because, well, I'm sure a lot of our 50 plus years old pianists out there
Okay,
will
so
recognize these
he's not
names.
only scratching underneath, but perhaps the backside of the iceberg too.
Well, let's not. Oh, come on.
Let's see.
It's not that bad. It's not that
Okay, I'm
bad.
just that kind of mood.
Okay, it depends. Okay, it just depends. All right, it just depends. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'll
It's
mention.
all about who you know.
Yes, it's all, well, sort of. But you know, okay. I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you warning here. This music may not be for everybody. Okay, it may not be. Okay. Let me talk about this name, Paul Wachs.
WACHS?
Yes. Paul
I know
Wachs.
that name somehow.
Okay. How about this one? Oh, you'll know this one. Marie Auguste Durand.
Durand, yeah.
You know that one.
Aria goes Durand.
Yeah. Gustav Lang.
Oh, for sure.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he big time Viennese kind of
I'm impressed.
rocky kind of music, yeah.
Gustav Lang.
Well, you know, when I did my nocturne research,
Yeah.
I looked up, there were, during COVID year, 650 some nocturnes listed
Yeah.
in IMSLP. And jeez, I had time. So I looked through everything, and I ended up finding roughly 150 of them that I thought,
Okay.
I'll start collecting them together. I downloaded them, and some of them I put into a book and stuff to do
Right.
a nocturne project.
Yeah.
And I played some of them in some of my concerts from the Minor Court. Some really nice pieces. 5 nocturnes by Eric Satie, for example. Beautiful.
Beautiful pieces.
Strange.
I remember hearing
A
that.
little kind of strange, but beautiful piece. I had most comments about those nocturnes, the Satie nocturnes,
Mhm.
people who wrote it. But no, Gustav Lang was a very famous Salon composer. He wrote a lot of, well, I think there were like at least 5 nocturnes of his in the collection.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I'm impressed. You know, Gustav Lang and Paul Wachs. All right. How about this one? Paul Linchke.
I'm not sure about that one.
Linchke. Linchke.
Let's see. No,
Okay.
don't know that.
I hope I got that name pronounced right.
Could be Linsky.
Linsky.
Maybe Linsky.
Okay. Edward Holst.
Yes. Wow. That's really weird. I just saw his name recently.
You did?
Yeah.
Where?
He was a relative of Gustav, wasn't he?
I don't know it.
I'm not sure.
I looked
But
at
that's
that.
what I first thought when I saw it. But then I saw his name listed again. No, I don't know exactly who he was or where he was from, if he was English or German, but I just saw his name in the news this past week.
You did?
Well, you know the news feeds I
Yeah.
get, it's music stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
He might make a comeback. Okay, well, anyways, these are salon music composers. Every one of them. Now, Paul Wachs. Well, let me first give you a background story as to what I'm talking about. We're talking about during a time when theater plays involved much more. What would you say? Melodramaticism. And if you went out to buy sheet music, you were, the sheet music was about that big, okay, with notes that big, and on the front cover you'd see these
Beautiful painting.
luxurious women, sitting at the bay windows in the moonlight, going like this.
And he's talking mostly the later 19th century, the 1880s,
Mm-hmm.
through maybe into the early 20th century, before the First World War.
So
The French kind of referred to it as the Belle Époque,
book.
the beautiful era, but it was really a universal thing. As things go, this was the culmination of a period of colonialism and mechanization of industry and all that. And the middle class, the upper middle class, of course, even the ones higher than that in some cases, but people made a lot of money. And in the United States, for example, there was no tax yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that we got into a big ruckus about with the British. And managed pretty much to stay free of that and national income tax until Jekyll Island and machinations set up the Federal Reserve and all that. Woodrow Wilson in the early 20th century. But everybody, I mean, my God, there were thousands of piano makers all over the world.
Yes.
building these big old monster uprights like your
Yes.
grandma used to have at
Yes,
her house.
the ones with the candle holders
Yeah,
on the
all
side
that
that
stuff.
looked like a creature from another
Yeah.
world, you know.
Wonderful things, and they were in generally well built.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of those pianos, I mean, if they were kept up, and sometimes even if they weren't really well kept up, you could still restore them, and they're still
Yeah.
tanks.
I know.
Amazing instruments.
Yeah. We had
And
5
some
guys
of
lift one
A lot
once.
of them had good sound. You know?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, it was. I mean, even Brahms in Vienna, later in Vienna, his lifetime, he was writing a lot of music for Minnecore and mixed choruses and ladies' choruses, like I direct now, German Minnecore, Damenchor. There was no radio. There was no electrical reproduction of music yet or anything like that. So if you were going to have music, you had to do it yourself,
Yes.
or go to people that performed it for you. If you're lucky to live in a major city or something like that, maybe you had the money to go.
Absolutely.
But there was a lot of amateur music making, tons of it. I mean, the amazing thing I'm thinking right now, just, for example, when the Titanic went down, they show this in the movies, but we know that it was true because the people that survived said so.
Yeah.
The orchestra guys stayed on the boat and continued to play to try to just keep people quiet and calm and everything until the boat went down.
Yeah.
They went down with the boat.
Oh yeah.
And interestingly, in the museum, either in England or America, I'm not sure which side it's on, Atlantic, the violin that belonged to the concertmaster of the band was floating in the water and somebody picked it up.
Really?
It still exists.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
They
amazing.
plucked it out of the sea. They identified it because of the number inside such that it was his.
Wow.
So he didn't make it, but the violin made it. And I say one more thing.
Mhm.
There was a period. I know another great movie. Death on the Nile
Death on the Nile.
by Agatha Christie. And it's the film version with Peter Ustinov in it.
Mhm.
And all these amazing stars. I mean, what's her name? The lady that did Murder, She Wrote. She plays this nutty
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Angela
Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury. Yeah, she's a great actress.
Yes.
But and Betty Davis and Maggie Smith and all these amazing people.
The guy that plays
David Niven is in it. And Jack Warden is in it, I think. Anyway, wonderful film. I just love the film. I fell in love with Mia Farrow back then. But do you remember the music that they play both on the boat but also in the hotel when they dance the tango and such?
Yeah.
That was like everywhere. It's like back in the 18th century when the rich guys had Mozart and Haydn and various players and people that played dance music and played for their parties and stuff like that. That probably always continued to exist in a way, but once again, in the later 19th century, with the wealthier upper class, this is kind of one of the things that pissed off the Soviet. Well, they weren't Soviets yet, but the Russians.
The Russian, yeah.
They got a little tired of all this upper level wealth stuff, and the Ruskies took care of that. But this is the kind of culture that this stuff grew up in. And then, it was like there were pianos galore in the houses and everywhere, and everybody played the piano, took piano lessons and stuff. And then people had parties, and then it was wonderful. The Vienna coffee houses and place had little places where little trios would play and things. And then famously, there were these little tiny, what they called. What do we call this whole period? What is it? Kind of music?
The Bella Pop.
No.
Salon?
Salon, yeah. Salon orchestras or salon ensembles.
Yes.
And they often played
Strauss waltzes for trios
and
quintets.
and famous melodies, not so much from operas, and maybe, but operettas and things like that. And anyway, I just wanted to say about that because honestly, one of the things I often wanted to do when I moved back to Columbus, I was hoping to start a piano trio. And I also wanted to look into getting into either trio or quartet or sextet or something, and focusing on Salon period music.
Oh,
There's
that'd be so much
tremendous stuff
fun.
available.
Yeah.
There's a CD that I want to get.
Yeah.
There's a famous cellist from England, Stephen Isserlis,
Oh yes, I've
Right.
heard that name. Yeah.
and it's called something like Music from Proust's Salon, Marcel Proust, for example.
Wow.
I should buy it. The price has just never quite come down for
Yeah.
one CD. But I'm really curious about it because I do have a few CDs, just maybe 3 or 4.
Uh-huh.
Stuff's not easy to find.
No, it's not. It's a lost art.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's one that I always thought I'd like to try to bring back because it was so much fun. I thought music was fun. Anyway, that's my thing. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm leaning over here with my hand in the bag. I am so looking forward to seeing your reaction to this. This is amazing. Now, this piece of music is not by any of the composers I mentioned, but you will be very familiar with this piece. This is what I was talking about. Look at this.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, this doesn't have a lovely lady at the bay window at the moonlight, but this. Look at the size of this sheet music.
Supposed to be Venice.
Yes.
Maybe Orc could be Istanbul.
But look at the fancy writing at the top. Yeah, look at that. Now, I had to dig deep for this one. This was within the archives. I think I remember picking it up maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. But I tell you, look at the size. Look at that. Look at the way they did this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. Now, the sad part about this is I've played through this and there's some misprints in it.
Really?
Okay, yeah, there are some misprints. It's not 100% accurate. There's a few, there's 1 or 2 clinkers in the thing.
Beaux-Arts Edition.
Yeah,
So it's French publication?
yeah. Not 100% accurate. But this is the type of thing I'm talking about. Okay, it's, you know, a lot of this music was sort of sentimentalized, you know, for perhaps even, you know, made look attractive so they could sell more copies. But it's sort of the style I'm talking about as far as the piano music we're about to see today.
The interesting thing is it has Liszt's original writing, and then it has a slight simplification written as well for those who think, oh, those are far too many notes for me to play. I might break a nail. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, I'm swooning.
Oh my God.
I love that old stuff.
Yes, it's wonderful when you find it. But this is sort of a bit of a souvenir. Okay, so let me show you the folks at home what the inside looks like. This is it. Hope you got a good look. See? Yes. So, but anyways, this is what I'm talking about. Now, the real scores are over here. Let me introduce you to these. This is by, well, Marie Auguste Durand. This piece, well, I'll tell you a little bit about it. My mother used to play this piece a lot. And I thought, wow, it's just a piece my mom learned to play. But as soon as I started going to Filipino parties at sort of 8, 9 years old, I found out some of our friends who are Filipino play the piano. They all play this, all of them. So that's why I said, if you're 50 plus years old and you're a Filipino pianist, chances are you know this piece very, very well. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, okay, for some of you who are interested in wondering what this piece sounds like, it has sort of it's subtly familiar figurations at the beginning that almost resemble the Minute Waltz by Chopin. It really does. Like I said, my mother used to play this, and her friends, if they play the piano, have played this. Okay.
I think when I see music like this,
Yeah.
I think some of the influences were Schumann. No, not Schumann. Chopin, I meant. Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn had a huge impact on 19th century audiences. His music, the songs without words, for example, especially in England. And then I also think Stephen Heller.
Stephen Heller, that's a good one. I never thought about him. Yes.
Parisian compatriot of Chopin and a whole bunch back in the day. I think in certain kind of ways, Louis Moreau Gottschalk, bringing his music from America
who I was going to mention
Paris,
later. And you beat me to the punch, Marc.
Then coming back. But certain people like that. But let's put it this way: Beethoven, no. Bach, no. Schubert, Mozart, no. Schubert has a romantic inspiration.
Yes,
very, very possibly. But this seems to come more from a French. Kind of a little lighter, a little more souffle instead of big chunky piece of meat. I mean the word Salon. Is from the tradition of playing these grand houses in Paris, for example. So go ahead.
Anyways, so if you're everyone who is familiar with this piece, it's interesting to note in the last 4 or 5 years that Alfred Publishing Company has now published all 5 of the waltzes from this opus.
Really?
Yes, all 5 of them. I didn't know he wrote. Well, I had a feeling there were more than one. Okay, I mean, my mom used to call this Durand's first waltz, and so I was always curious whether there was a second. There was at least a second. So when she called it the first waltz, then it was assumed that there's at least a second one. But
she played by
5 of
memory?
them. Yeah, she played this whole thing by memory, the whole thing. I mean, apparently she had learned this piece. Well, they all did. They all did. Every single Filipino I saw play this piece played it by memory.
They probably all studied with the same piano teacher.
Perhaps they did. Now, interestingly enough, when I started playing this piece, I did play at a nursing home once when I was 10. I played this piece when I was in a nursing home once, and it was to visit one of my mother's older dear friends who was there, and I was entertaining
Here in the Philippines.
This was back in Findlay, Ohio.
Oh, in Ohio.
This is Findlay, Ohio. So anyways, it was interesting to note that one of the residents there who was listening came over, and he was an elderly gentleman and told me that, he says he was very familiar with this piece. He used to play trumpet back in college. You're talking back in the 1920s. And he said to me that he and a bunch of other people, had to play this piece as piano proficiency. So this was at one time considered a piano proficiency test for all the ones who were, non-piano majors. So yes, it was. So, but incidentally, I used to have a recording of Harold Bauer playing this. Yes, so
really?
Harold Bauer played this. So I bet you if you look on YouTube, you might be able to find it. But he actually played this.
So I wonder if that's an early example of crossover music making.
It could be. We don't know.
So probably people thinking, Harold, you're the violin accompanied sonatas and and all these pieces you're doing is wonderful, but buddy, you want to make some gold. You're going to record this piece.
Yes, absolutely.
We could sell 10 times the number.
Yeah.
Your classical influence.
Yes. Now, what I recall of that recording, he took it extremely fast. Yes, extremely fast. Now, for some of you who want to experiment with this kind of music, I'll just have to say my advice to you is you need to take yourself less seriously when you play something like this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? It's very hammy, but not in the manner that's vulgar. Okay.
This is moderately priced champagne. Again, always moderately priced. Bordeaux, but we're not talking like really Pinot Noir kind of food and music and stuff. This is some nice cheese and a little bit of charcuterie in the afternoon, some fresh fruit and a little bit of champagne or something light.
Now, what you want to avoid, okay, is making it sound like movie house music for silent movies.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you want to avoid. If you've watched those old silent movies and they have piano music as part of the soundtrack, they tend to sound a little bit bangy. Okay,
Plus the pianos too.
Plus the pianos, it's sort of one of those clunky, honky-tonk type pianos. But this, like I said, they have sort of the right idea. The spirit is there, but if you're a classical pianist and you're very serious about your art,
Are you the one
properly measured.
You told me last week.
What?
Or were you the one that I heard this from? That Dmitri Shostakovich played.
Yes, he did.
Played piano for silent films.
Yes, he did. I tried to look.
And that there's something available.
Yes, somebody had it on YouTube, and it's no longer there. I looked for it last night, and I cannot find it. So I was sort of bummed about that. It was wonderful because it was completely improvised. The whole thing.
Wow.
It was completely improvised, and I was shocked that it wasn't. It was no longer.
Those guys were masters in their own right.
I know, and it sounds just like Shostakovich.
My dad actually loved the tradition of organ playing for films,
and that was originally.
And he could do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I heard people do that. There's a place called out in Mesa, Arizona. Is it called Organ Pipe Pizza? I think it's a very interesting place. A friend of mine, Byron, he had some hobbies, but one of the things he loved, because he'd done it himself, he had completely repaired a pipe organ. He worked for Raytheon, but he had these projects and this amazing workshop stuff. He'd build almost anything. But he took me there, and Mesa is a southern suburb kind of city of Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think Mesa is also where Arizona State University is, with the Wedding Cake music building that Frank Lloyd Wright designed. They'll call it the Wedding Cake. It's kind of like when you go in, and it's almost like going in like you're going to the movies or something. And you go to the back, and there's where you pay for your ticket, your entrance to go in. And then the room, it's a huge room.
Yeah.
German style, like Oktoberfest. Long shared tables. And then they have pizza.
Wow.
And then up at the front of the thing is a monster pipe organ. I mean, a huge thing. I forget how many ranks it had in it.
Wow.
It also had a full, I could have probably not Stanley, but a Baldwin concert grand attached to it so that you could play on the piano from the organ.
Oh, gosh.
It had, my God, all kinds of extra bells and whistles, and I mean, serious other percussion instruments and bells and whistles.
Amazing.
And there are guys up there that play it. And I played at the Lutheran Church, and I think I'm a decent organist. I don't know, okay. But some of these guys, like serious. I mean, they can play the Minute Waltz with their feet. Okay?
Oh, I'm sure they could.
Guys,
yeah.
No, I can't. I can't do it. I can play it with my hands, but not with my feet.
Yeah.
It was astonishing to hear it. And what they did, also they have like two screens on either side, and they'll have like special nights where it's like going to the movies. So they cut the lights down, and he's up there with this massive thing, and then they show the movie, and then he's just like, doing his thing, playing the music with it. And it's amazing how much it really enhances the film. I mean, come
Yes.
on, we know
Yes.
that now. Like Laura and I were watching a show recently, some old movie, and with the music, I could say, "Laura, cover your eyes, something's going to happen." And sure enough, "Wah!" She goes, "Ah!" I told you. I said you could tell by the music.
Yeah.
You know it's going to happen. But they do that here in Columbus at the Ohio Theater in the summer.
Yeah,
don't they?
they do.
They have they
Yeah.
have one of these big old super
Yeah.
organs.
They
and
do.
They do movies with organ accompaniment.
Yeah,
So
they sure do. Yeah.
you should go if you ever have
Yeah.
that opportunity around where you live, because it's a bit of a lost art.
Yeah. Do you remember where it is? Or what
Here?
it's called? Yeah.
It's at the Ohio Theater downtown.
Ohio Theater?
On
Ohio Theater, folks.
is it, what is it? 6th Street? No, not State Street.
State Street.
State
Okay.
Street. It's just immediately behind the Capitol. Yeah.
Okay. State Street, folks.
I think
Ohio
it's where they do like the Nutcracker. They do in December. They perform in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful. They look up the Ohio Theater
Yeah.
in Columbus, Ohio. It was, well, unfortunately, like a lot of places, going to be torn down in the 70s or something,
Mm-hmm.
and people got together and saved it. And then they also saved the organ in doing that. And actually, Bob Bunn and his partner, Phil Minnick, they're the ones that I think they're the ones that did the rebuilding work on the organ.
Renovations and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, got off that. I'm sorry. All right.
I don't think I showed them this. Okay, for all you viewers, this is what Duran's first waltz looks like. I don't have a copy of all 5 waltzes from Alfred, but this is at least the first waltz. I'm sorry?
Look it up on IMSLP.
You probably
Maybe
can
get
find
for
it
free.
there. Probably sure. Now, a little bit of info about Auguste Durand. Born 1830 and died in 1909. Born in Paris. Studied at the Paris Conservatory with a Francois Benoist.
Benoit.
Well, it's got an E at the end. Benoist.
Oh, this is a T.
Yeah.
Oh, Benoist.
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 Okay. So, anyways, upon graduating, 1849, he was an organist at the St. Ambroise. Whatever.
Ambroise, yeah. It's not a-
Then he proceeded to St. Genevieve, St. Roche, and finally settled at St. Vincent de Paul, where he was organist from 1862 to 74.
Hmm.
Now, in 1869, I'm sure some of you people who have ordered French music, imported straight from France, you'll be familiar with the name Durand. Well, that company was founded in 1869 with Louis Schoenberg. He was German. Schoenberg?
Oh, Schoenberg.
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 It's
So,
beautiful work.
and so, anyways, the company was originally
Creation.
Durand,
Mhm.
Schoenberg, and what's that?
CIE.
CIE.
Company.
Compagnie?
Yeah.
Compagnie.
And I wonder if
She
it's
said.
become Durand et Fils now, because there's still a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Durand et Fils, F-I-L-S, means and son.
And Sons, yes.
Ah.
Yeah, eventually after...
CIE is French abbreviation for compagnie, for company.
So, anyways, eventually, somewhere in the, I don't know, I guess in the early 1900s, before, when he was about to move on, I guess a young cousin of his took over.
Ah.
So, anyway, so everything from the first decade of the 1900s on up to, I don't know, whenever,
Present day,
It was-
perhaps.
there was a cousin that, that
Well, he's
ran
dead,
things.
but-
Yeah.
But this Durand guy is the one that started the Durand Publishers?
Yeah.
This fella? He was
This
part of it?
fella, Marie Auguste
Auguste Durand.
Durand.
So
Yeah.
he published his own waltzes then.
Yeah, and I mean the whole story behind it. I mean, they printed the first early operas of Wagner there.
Hmm.
And they published it right there in France.
Wow, good for them.
But the titles there came out into like the, what is it, 17,000 titles or something like that by the time after its first year. Because Schoenberg, he was a publisher to begin with. Okay, he had been publishing works, and before he had met Durand, he had already published something like 1,400. And in a year, that went up from 1,400 to 1,700 to whenever, thousands.
And see, this is all also part of that whole explosion of wealth. People having more pianos and more people studying, more people playing. There's a good business to be in publishing in the later 19th century. And in New York, there were some really famous publishers that got started right around the beginning of the 20th century in this huge explosion.
Yeah.
And they became enormous. I mean, G. Schirmer is from that period of time. And in America, was the preeminent music publisher for a good part of the century. So,
wow. Okay, so the next piece I'm bringing to you is by Paul Wachs. W-A-C-H-S, Wachs. I'm not sure how you pronounce the last name. I think it's Wachs.
Could be Wachs.
Wachs? Yeah. Wachs. Okay. Now, Paul Wachs, this work my mother also played. Paul Wachs. This is called...
Is this her music?
No, it is not.
No.
I found this in the archives at my house, but I think I remember that one. It's been about 5 or 6 years since I've had it. But this is Paul Wachs. This piece is called Madrileña. And just from the sound of the name, I would imagine it's some kind of dance or something. Have you heard of Madrileña?
No.
Okay, well, anyways, that's and she played it, and funny thing is, you know, the other Filipinos played it as well. Okay, so it's a 6/8 piece. Paul Wachs, 1851 to 1915, French composer, organist, pianist, took lessons from his dad. So here it is. It's old, hard to find. Maybe you could find it on IMSLP, but that's what it looks like. It's in 6/8, very brilliant. Okay, very Salonish. Now, believe it or not, years ago, I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, and during the summers when we weren't in school, I remember watching Sesame Street. Okay, and one of the earliest recollections of this piece I've had was a segment on Sesame Street where they had these monkeys swinging inside of a zoo from these trees that they had planted, that they just go from one branch to another branch to another branch to another branch, and then another monkey would go the other direction that way. And believe it or not, they actually played this piece. It was on the soundtrack. It was a piano. And so, and I found the monkeys entertaining, and I didn't, and I thought the music was back then, and then my father bought a piano for my mother.
Oh.
And to listen to her play for the first time, I mean, I was looking at the piano. I was like, oh, it's a piano. Wow, new toy, and I started poking at it. And then my mom started to play. I was like, well, where the hell did that come from? By that time I was 6, like I said, 6 or 7 years old. And she actually still remembered this piece.
And you go, hey, Mom, that's the monkey piece.
Yes, that's all I could remember was the monkeys when she played it. But like I said, lots of Filipinos played this. So it's not now, folks, like I said, it's not, you have to not take yourself so seriously when you play music like this. It's entertainment, and it sounds brilliant.
I'm thinking, what this is? This kind of piece especially, it's in the kind of same range. You know who one of the great proponents of the salon entertainment style would have been? Liberace.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Perhaps
absolutely.
I mean, the guy had the technique to play anything he wanted to.
Yes.
But he devoted to this slightly more popular entertainment kind of style of music.
Yes.
And this piece is a little bit more challenging. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
For us, it was like intermediary, maybe.
Yes.
I think intermediate difficulty at most. But
Yes.
for the ordinary amateur pianist, it might be a bit of a challenge. But
Yes.
they'd be impressed with themselves if they really managed to do it.
Absolutely. Now, believe it or not, I forgot to mention, there are many YouTube videos of performances of the first waltz by Durand. There are even fewer videos of this one. There's a Philip Sear pianist. His channel is called P. Sear, Sear, all one word. I think he has pianist at the end of it. I think so. But anyways, he plays it. He's it's very sound. It's he pretty much milks it the way it's supposed to be done.
I'm not teaching kids, younger folks nowadays. And when I was teaching that kind of well, not that young anyway, but it was at the university, the undergrads and stuff. But then we were doing more serious repertoire necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, what, I'm thinking about, like, when this stuff was available, and, for example, John Thompson's series, when you got into the 5th and 6th levels, there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
I remember in the 6th book, there was Tchaikovsky's 6th
Symphony,
Sad.
Yeah, the Pathetique.
Yeah. I mean, there were reductions and things like that, but it was like, it was like music.
It was music, yeah.
I was lucky. I would say that I grew up, the teachers that I had, this is a ways back, so they were using older methods kind of things.
Yeah.
And then we got to get started into some more serious music as time went on. And mostly, I'd do theory and stuff, but the scales and arpeggios and things like that. I'd say it's a kind of typical or older-fashioned kind of way of learning. And I'd say, this is just a break from this, but it has to do with your music and the quality, I think, of this stuff. When I went to school and took piano pedagogy necessarily, not to become a pedagogue, but everybody has to do it.
Yeah.
You have to know how the methods and your instruments stuff.
Yeah.
I've not been a big fan of a lot of newer stuff. I'm not going to say much more than that. I was always impressed with Alfred.
Okay,
I liked them from the very first beginning when they showed up. And I think they were just starting to publish stuff at about the time I was in my undergrad.
Yeah.
Like early 80s, maybe.
Yeah.
There's some companies that, do some stuff, but...
So which method in Alfred were you talking? Are you talking like the Alfred's piano library? Piano music library? PML?
Well, I think it was like...
Or the Creating Music series?
Well, I don't know about the newer stuff. I'm not sure I'd know about
Well, that one's older.
So I'm talking about the old, probably more the original stuff.
Okay.
But my point is that then when we looked at a bunch of other ones, I won't mention it by name, and it's not necessary.
From the way you lifted your mug.
Well, I don't think this is a snobby thing to say. I think this is out of respect for the traditions of the art that we practice.
Yeah.
And I would say in the traditions of classical art.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy.
No, it's not.
Nothing about it is supposed to be easy.
No, nothing.
Because ultimately, as a practitioner of the art, what it does is asks you to really, if you got, Laura does this. She washes my socks.
Yeah.
And then she takes them like this, and then you stuff them into each other inside out.
Right, yeah.
And so then when it comes time to wear them, you grab it out of the edge, and you grab hold of the toes, and you pull it back open.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do with yourself as an artist. You kind of like take this, stuff it in the middle,
Yeah.
and then pull it back out. You know, it's an aspect of transfiguration and transformation.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a typical, like Joseph Campbell would call the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like in Wagner, the role that Siegfried plays, to, you know, rescue the gods from their own fallen state, you know, and do this, or like what Jesus does for all human beings, you know, who choose to accept Him.
Yeah.
That he was God, but he necessarily had to be a human being in order to show his love and the promise of what he held before us. And he had to die to do that. He had to suffer, not just die, but to be beaten and suffer and die in a very bad way and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to convert anybody. My point is art is hard.
Art is very hard.
And
it's a lifetime job.
Some people have more natural inclinations towards aspects of it, and then other people work just really hard and they achieve things nonetheless. And there's lots of different levels of it, because really great classical art is limitless. Is much of the way, I think it's a humanistic path akin to a divine path. Mm-hmm. When you're looking for God, no, I don't know that in the old days the church would have liked this comparison, but if you're looking to get into the mind and the soul of Beethoven, you're not that far short of looking for God. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's similarities there.
Yeah.
And that could take a lifetime or 10 lifetimes.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. So I was never a big fan of these methods that I think make too much of an appeal to it being fun or entertaining to the child and all that sort of stuff. Because I don't know. I mean, I know that there are certain contemporary methods of education and understanding child psychology and all those kind of things, which one might argue have great benefit in terms of not being grounded in an abusive kind of training program, and maybe know how to oil the wheels so that you get them running more quickly and efficiently, perhaps. That I would get, and I could support that. But I think to some extent, all the cute little pictures and the inane little pieces of music that they write. Whoa, I mean, wouldn't it be better if you tried to appeal to the child's potential intelligence and try to pull them up the mountain a little bit than writing music like the child's up here and, oh, I gotta go back down there to the foothills and play that crap? I mean, you know, some of the stuff is so stupid. Inane, you know, it's just like da 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 da. Oh, come on.
Or ya da da ya da 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 da.
And I really think, and then
what?
It's like grade 1, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, all these little books that come with it, and how much do they cost? $10 a piece.
$10 a piece. Close
Spending $100 or more on one level.
Yeah.
And then it was like 12 of them or something. I mean, it's just nuts. I really think that the whole system is geared towards profits for the music creators and publishers than it is necessarily for creating a great, leading a kid into art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So did I say that in a kind of a nice way?
You did.
Without being like,
yes,
really bad about that. But you got my, you got what I think about it.
I think you're.
Look, I think you know, if somebody comes to me for piano lessons, or probably nowadays, I'm looking for somebody who's a little bit more along, and then sometimes I like to go back in and check for weaknesses in the lower levels. Maybe fix those a bit, you know. But for me, I still do this every day when I warm up. Practice my scales and tempos and stuff, contract motion, all that kind of stuff. I do the whole circle, fit the whole bunch.
Yeah.
All that Russian school all the way through. Play some octaves. I play some arpeggios. Do some Hanon. You know, just and you know whatever. When I'm in good shape, I'm been consistent for a while. Then I pull out my little Czerny exercises, play those little suckers. Yeah. You know, ooh, ooh, ooh. Maybe you know it used to be when I do my doctorate. First hour I'd sit down at the piano was just all that. You know.
Yeah.
That set me up for the day. You know, well into the next morning because I'd be practicing my repertoire late at night from 11 to 2 or something. I don't think I'm a genius. I said in the last show I thought maybe there were some exceptional aspects about me, which were driven by certain things, I think, emotionally. But I said I didn't think I was a child prodigy. And I think the most prodigious of all of us in the family was my father. He was very natural and just oozed music, you know. I think I worked hard. And I said on other shows, I think to some extent I was fulfilling my father's dream that he wasn't able to live. So I just worked hard, and I did, you know, fairly well.
Yeah. Do you have any nieces or nephews then? Oh, you're the last one, aren't you?
Well, I mean, Susan and Katie could kind of play, but as far as really play, no, I'm it.
You're it.
Yeah, and I never had any kids, so
my
dad always wanted me to have kids. Well, the Hague name's going to die with you, and I said, well, what do you do?
Oh God. Well, I have one nephew that actually plays.
Really?
But he's not
into it.
Not really heavy into it. At
best, he's we're a product of our generation.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
I'm the last one.
Everybody's playing these things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know. Thank God. You know, there's still some young artists pulling it out. I mean, Viking Olsen. What's her name? Chinese girl. Yu Wang. And now this Korean dude.
You channel them.
Yeah, I mean, it's still there.
It's still there, absolutely.
But interestingly, if you're Asian, or to some extent European, but what about here in America? Who's our Van Cliburn nowadays?
Who's our Van Cliburn nowadays? Oh, that's a good question. Oh,
I mean, that he was our hero. I mean, you know.
Yeah, he was our hero.
He got the ticker tape parade in New York City like an astronaut.
Boy, that is a good question.
We don't have any of those anymore.
Well, the last American who actually started winning competitions was Kenny Broberg. Kenny Broberg took silver medal at the Van Cliburn competition. I don't remember the gold medal winners. I'm such a shame about that. I'm supposed to be good at this.
I'm still impressed. He follows this stuff.
Kenny Broberg won the Van Cliburn competition. Then a year or two later, he went to the Tchaikovsky and took bronze.
Wow, good for him.
I believe Alexander Kantorov was the gold medal winner in that competition.
What do you think? I mean, I'm thinking now maybe they're professors because I'm thinking there's Christopher O'Reilly. He's an American, isn't he?
He is an American.
So he's at Madison. He's the artist resident professor.
He took bronze medal at the Van Cliburn to, Simone Padroni, who took gold, and Valery Kuleshov took silver.
Who's the big piano guy out at University of Colorado Boulder now? It's like a Christopher O'Reilly. He's like a Christopher. Forget his name. Maybe I could look it up.
There's also a Jonathan Biss.
Oh yeah.
You heard of him?
Yeah.
He's
I've
American.
seen him written up. Is he Jewish?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought
He's got a bunch. He's got
Beethoven.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of videos
There you
on
go.
The 32 Beethoven sonatas.
So we're doing it, but let's put it this way.
They're not.
A lot of people know who Viking Olsen is, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, a lot of.
Pretty much most everybody knows Yuja Wang.
Yeah.
But what about Mr. Biss?
Not.
And I know he has a following.
Oh,
I
he
now
has
I
quite a
mentioned him. I
following.
see him.
Yeah.
And I've seen him written up. And this is not to put anything down. Because again, we're not representing the 0.001% of the iceberg. We're interested in the whole iceberg.
Yeah.
And most of it, like 80% of it's underwater,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're always trying to explore those pieces and bring them up to the surface for a little bit to look at.
The last American who took gold at the Van Cliburn, John Nakamatsu, is the only one I know.
Uh-huh.
He took gold. It was rather controversial because he was also a high school German teacher. Yeah, in the daytime he was Mr. Nakamatsu, the German teacher at high school. And then at nighttime he was the concert pianist.
Who's the American Japanese kind of name guy who teaches at Indiana? He does the demonstrations of how other pianists play. Some wonderful videos.
Oh,
John Kimura Parker.
John Kimura, he's Canadian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's
not
Canadian.
an American.
No. He's
I mean U.S. citizens.
Yeah. Yeah, these competitions I watch,
Yeah.
I like to root for, I mean,
He's
USA,
really
USA.
interesting.
And I feel disappointed when they don't get past the first round. But I'm still rooting for them. So
I'm sure that there's magnificent
there's got to be some
in this country doing things, but is an expression. That's what I was saying. Is that we don't have any younger.
We don't have
family
Wild.
members.
We don't have a Van Cliburn.
Yeah, but we ourselves, neither Elmer and I have anybody. We're it.
Yeah.
In our families.
In our families, we are
once we check out, piano players are checking out.
Yeah, pretty much in our family. Yeah.
No more cabotages and no more things.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah. But I think it's symbolic of a change, because back when we were born, I mean, the two greatest pianists in America were Liberace and then Van Cliburn.
Van Cliburn.
Yeah, the best of both worlds. There's others, yeah. And then, of course, we had a lot of Americanized. Arthur Rubinstein and Horowitz, they were naturalized.
They were naturalized,
But, I mean, America, to some extent, as we developed ourselves economically in the 19th century, we had to build a country and, do all this kind of stuff. I don't mean this in a funny way, but I'll subject all the Indians and everybody else, so we could stomp on them and control the whole nation, right? And I don't mean that in a funny way. It's kind of an ironic truth.
Yeah.
But then we made a lot of money.
Yeah, we did.
Lots of money. American money talked to the world. And we started to go to Europe and shop for culture. So we had people that went to study at Franz Liszt.
Yeah.
And then the generation after that, Arthur Schnabel.
Yeah.
And then my teacher, Howard Karp, went to study with Wilhelm Kempf. You have these great master teachers that you go and come back, and you have these legacies that are brought back in our country. And our greatest conductors earlier on. I mean, Bernstein was the first really, truly great American-born, American-raised and bred American conductor, right? Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein, yes, Bernstein.
Then we have later on Slatkin and some Michael Tilson Thomas.
Michael Tilson, I forgot about that.
He survived his brain cancer thing a few years ago, so he's still around and really being feted all over the world now, which is great to see. I remember seeing him on public TV in the 70s when he won the big conducting competition.
Yeah.
He was so young.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's he's like at least 17, 20 years older than me, but he looked young. He always did. But no, I mean, everything's different too, economically now and such, but We have some great orchestras here, but a lot of the orchestras are being populated by
Asians.
yeah, yeah, and some of them are originally from abroad.
Yeah.
But they come and they study in our conservatories and music schools, and they become citizens, and they get work here and everything. It is what it is, but I'm not sure that's always been. It's always kind of been like that here,
Mm-hmm.
because of immigration and the people coming from the world here necessarily. I mean, there wouldn't have been a Columbia Orchestra for Bruno Walter if it hadn't been for all of the Jews and other oppressed kind of people that had to leave Europe because of the Nazi shit and go to California and play in Hollywood orchestras.
Yeah.
Some really great ones.
Yeah,
the guy, I forget his name now, but the guy who was the concertmaster of the orchestra that played the music for Wizard of Oz. He was playing a Stradivarius in a Hollywood orchestra.
Could you imagine?
No, not just any dick gets a Stradivarius to play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, some of the great ones out there. At one point, can you imagine this?
Yeah.
In the same general neighborhood of Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
Heifetz, Piatigorsky, Rubinstein,
Rubinstein.
and for a while, Rachmaninoff as well.
Rachmaninoff.
And
Earl
Rodovaldo, Earl Wild. Well, Earl Wild was down in Palm Springs, wasn't he?
Yeah, but still.
But
He's
still,
in Hollywood quite a bit.
it's Southern California, I mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine that? Bruno Walter, Heifetz, Piatigorsky, and Rubinstein.
Yeah.
My God. But that's because they love the warm weather, and that's where all of the folks went.
That's where they went.
But before that, throughout the Midwest
Uh-huh.
and around New York and New Jersey and places like that, there's so many European immigrants. Our country really prospered enormously. 19th and then especially in the 20th century in some ways from some shit craziness in Europe. And we got incredible. I mean, Arnold Schoenberg ends up in California at Berkeley, and who studies with him? John Cage, his first important teacher. And for various other reasons. I mean, Gunnar Johansson immigrated to the United States, who was a student of Egon Petri. Who was a disciple of Busoni.
Let's not forget Docnani.
Docnani ended up in Florida as an old guy, but had a profound influence in Florida.
Yeah, but he came to Ohio, apparently. He had that.
Yes, he did. So anyway, I got off way out.
Oh, that's okay. It was wonderful history lesson.
We were
talking about Paul Wachs. There's some important information about this guy. Now, I just introduced you to the Madrilenia by Paul Wachs. Or Vox?
Vox, probably.
Okay. So, but anyways, his most famous work is not Madrilenia. It's Promenade. Here, you see if you could pronounce that. Promenade Ane or something like that.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Are you sure that's what it is?
That's how they spelled it.
Promenade Ane. It looks a little strange because usually it would have two N's and an E for it.
Yeah.
I think it should be.
But that's how they spelled it.
What that is.
So, anyways, that's his most famous piano work.
Paul, the name of a woman.
Paul could be. Paul Wachs was also an organ student of César Franck at the Paris Conservatory. 1872, won first prize in organ. Let's see. For the rest of the time, he composed music. I recall here composing in a carefree grandeur style of the Belle Époque era. U2. Oh, here it is. It's like what I said. P. Sear pianist. So if you're looking for a recording of the Madrilenia or a video from someone performing it, it's P-S-E-A-R, all one word, space, pianist. So there he is, Philip Sear. Wonderful. Okay, now, the next work I want to present here is this one. Look at the size of this thing. This is Dance of the Demon.
Edward Holst.
Edward Holst.
So is he French?
Uh,
Because the pronunciation is either Swiss or not, but spelling is the way you do it in French.
Edward Holst is Danish. He's from Copenhagen, Denmark. Look at this, folks. Dance of the Demon by Edward Holst. I doubt he's related to Gustav Holst.
Oh, you never know.
So, but there it is. Look at this. Look at this. It's a folder. It's housing this thing.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And look at that.
Look at this thing. Look at this thing. This thing's a folder here. It's supposed to house this sheet music. Now that's the way to sell these things. Really. Look at that. What a neat cover. And as far as the music goes, I want to open this carefully. There it is. It's falling apart just a bit. You get a glimpse of at least the first page. That's what it looks like. And yes, my mother played this one too. All of it memorized. And there is only one YouTube video performance of this, at least for a solo piano. The other ones are Dance of the Demon for piano, four hands. So, but there is one solo pianist.
The same composer.
Same composer, same arranger. So, but anyways, there's only one solo pianist that does this on YouTube, and wouldn't you know it? It's a Filipino lady.
No way.
Yeah, I told you they all play this. They play this stuff. Take a good look at it. So Edward Holst, like I said earlier, Danish composer, born in Copenhagen. Okay, born 1843, died in 1899, and believe it or not, he died in New York City. So he came to America. Let's see. From his bio, we gather that a bio from 1907 states that he produced over 2,000 works, which includes music for military band, one comic opera, and a cargo load of piano works, apparently. So, he was also very multi-talented. He was an actor. He was a playwright. He was a dancer, instructor, pianist, composer. My goodness, that's quite a bit. And if you want to look for the YouTube video of this, you should type in the search box, Dance of the Demon by Pianora. Yeah, Pianora. Pianora. One word. It's in the YouTube channel, NanieuTube. NanieuTube. All one word. That's the channel. But interestingly enough, you only see her hands and the piano. I think you see her arms. You don't actually get to see the whole person. It's just her, and I would gather she's about roughly my age, I think. So, but that is Dance of the Demon. And she takes it at a pretty good clip. My mother used to take this as a pretty good clip. But she played stuff like this all the time. And eventually, I did too.
None of these are your mom's copy?
None of these are my mom's copy. I found these in one of our outings to
here in Ohio.
Yep, in Columbus, of all places, Columbus. So, but anyways, that is Gustav Holst. Now the remaining composers here, I don't have piano scores for them, but one composer, Gustav Lang. Yeah, apparently you're familiar with it. 5 Nocturnes by Gustav Lang. Born 1830, died in 1889, And you might know something about this, where he was birthplace. Schwerstedt. Here, you look at it. It's right there. Schwerstedt.
No, Schwerstedt, yeah.
Yeah.
It's near Erfurt in Germany.
Okay.
Or the Prussian Saxony, which is what would have been Eastern Germany.
Yeah.
The old part of Saxony.
Okay. Anyways.
Erfurt.
Yes. Anyways, he also studied piano and organ with his father. Eventually, he would continue studies at the Royal Institute for Church Music in Berlin. His teachers were August Wilhelm Bach. I wonder if any relation to the Bach family.
Why not?
So, another teacher, Edward Grell, Grell, and Albert Loschhorn, or something like that?
Loschhorn.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got some music by him.
You
He
do?
wrote, Loschhorn wrote like etudes and things like that.
Yeah, he did.
For people to do.
Now, story has it, according to his bio, his opuses reach nearly 500. That's a lot of music. Now, the last composer, oh, by the way, I mentioned Gustav Lang because his most famous piano work is the Flowers Song. And my mom used to play this piece, and eventually I learned the piece too. Sadly enough, the music eventually gets so abused by performers that eventually becomes cartoon music, and say like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons and the old Popeye cartoons, and you know what I'm talking about, all those old ones.
The internet's really slow today. It's a big, huge solar thing.
There is.
Yeah, they said to get ready for it.
Sad.
Oh my God, it's just. I wanted to look it up.
What, Gustav Lang?
Oh.
Oh, by the way, there are about a half dozen or so performances of the Flower Song by Gustav Lang on YouTube.
There it is.
Most of them, pretty adept pianists. Who are you looking up? Gustav Lang?
Yeah, I got it right.
Okay.
Oh, there's a guy. Old Japanese dude.
What?
There's Mitsuru Nagai. The old Japanese dude playing it on.
Yeah?
It was really good too because he's an old dude and he's playing. This is the rubato. Do you think they can hear it?
Let me bring it up.
Yeah, let me pull it up. God, it's so slow today. You can show it like that.
Forgive us, folks. I don't know how the audio sounds. You took the repeat?
It's in there.
That's good.
Yeah.
You've heard this.
Oh yeah, of course. I played it.
Yeah.
I think he's playing it, which is very interesting though.
Yeah.
He's a real old Japanese dude. But I feel like the way he's doing it. Nice tone. Okay. It's a very economical way of playing, too.
Yeah. Okay. Here comes the cadenza. Hold on. Cadenza. Oh, not that.
I think this guy is probably a serious pianist.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to. This is probably the first time we ever played a piece on our show.
Our show, I know. I hope he doesn't dock us for it.
Well, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But we're not like crapping on it.
Yeah,
Did a good
it's
job.
actually pretty not. It's
Yeah.
actually not bad. He's good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that Gustav, or did we finish reading Gustav line? Yeah, we did. Opuses reaching nearly 500.
No.
Now, the last composer I wanted to mention today was one Paul Linsky. Linsky. Now, I thought for a long time there, since I was familiar with the name as a kid, I thought he was American, and he's not. He's actually German.
Yeah.
Linsky.
How do you spell his name?
Linske.
Well, if it's German, then it would be Lenke.
Lenke?
Lenke. Yeah.
Wow.
And I thought maybe if he was like from Poland or
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Eastern Europe, then the C sometimes can be pronounced several as an S sound.
Okay.
Lenske. But no. Well, he could still be.
It could be.
From that area, but German, you know.
Okay.
Because Germany in the 19th century comprised a lot of territory.
Okay. Say his name. Lenke?
Well, it could either be Lenke,
Lenke?
or it's possible, depending on where he came from, it could be Lenske.
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 Okay. Gotcha. All right. He was born in 1866, died in 1946.
Whoa, 80 years.
Yeah. Born
Made
in...
it through the war.
Yeah, he did.
Lordy.
Yeah, no kidding. Born in Berlin. He studied at a place called Wittenberge.
You know, especially, I bet his name was Lenske, because Berlin was the international city,
Okay.
and there were a lot of people that came from like Estonia, Lithuania,
Yeah.
Poland. It was the Prussian city, Prussia, and all of what was Prussia. Well, some of northern Germany with Berlin, but Prussia was also a lot of northern Poland.
Wow.
As well.
So, anyways,
Serbian names too.
he had written an opera or operetta called Frau Luna, from which the piece.
This is Moon.
Yes, for which a piece called Berliner Luft, which was the unofficial anthem of Berlin.
Yeah.
You heard it?
Yeah, it means Berliner breeze in Berlin. Let me see if I can find that too. That could be fun.
Okay. So, and later on, he would compose another operetta called Lysistrata. One word, Lysistrata. L-Y.
Lysistrata?
Is that it?
Lysistrata, but
L-Y.
which is the name of a famous Greek female person.
Say it again.
Lysistrata.
Lysistrata.
Yeah, that's from Greek. Lysistrata. Yeah. Yeah.
What he said. Anyways, from that operetta, he would pull out one of his most famous works called Glowworm.
Ooh.
We all know that.
You were a glowworm?
He composed Glowworm. Yeah, which would eventually become a big band hit. It's been arranged for jazz band, dance band.
Oh.
But my mother and several other pianists, Filipino pianists, I might add, all played the piano version of it.
You want to hear this? Berliner Luft?
Sure.
This is Daniel Barenboim conducting.
Are you kidding me?
I've got Simon Rattle of Berlin.
No way.
Yeah, let's hear Berliner Luft with. Here they go.
Are we allowed to play this?
Unlock more savings in the Kroger
I only
app.
said Daniel
On top
Barenboim.
of
I
low
didn't say
prices,
play
shop
it.
the weekly ad and clip digital coupons worth over $600.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Sounds like fun. Should I hold it up? Or?
Yeah, you show it.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Now, apparently, I think we could do it for just a little bit. There's also, here's Berlin with Simon Rattle. Oh, and he's playing in the percussion section.
He is?
Yeah. Well, I can show it to you. He's playing in the percussion section.
Sort of catchy. Interesting.
It's good. And it looks like the musicians are all smiling. They're having a good time.
Makes me want to take up my viola again, just to play it.
Now here's one with the words.
The words?
That's what makes the Berlin air with this lovely scent. Everything's really good. It's an trophy.
Okay. All together for now.
Great.
That is great.
We have some old pictures of Berlin. Streetcars and wagons and things. Okay. Well, that's the first time we've ever done that.
Well, I hope it stays.
We have some music in our show.
You know, you're looking rather nostalgic, looking through all that.
Well, I'd love to. You didn't see what came after that.
Oh,
It's
I did?
colorized images of Berlin from probably the 1890s and early 20th century. Streetcars and wagons and old or brand new like trucks.
Yeah.
Things I would say.
Okay, well, we're almost done with this segment.
Oh,
My final words about playing music like this. Okay, it's like what I said. Don't take yourself seriously when you play this stuff.
well, like with this music, the people are up just clapping
Yeah,
their hands
exactly.
and enjoying.
You're
it,
enjoying the clapping and probably jumping up and down. And let me add, that like I said, Harold Bauer actually recorded the first waltz by Duran. There is a recording of him playing it. Let's not forget, in today, even a pianist like John Kimura Parker would come out, from playing a full program, and for an encore, he would come out and play the theme from The Simpsons.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
I saw him do it over here after he performed the Emperor Concerto
Why
with
not?
Columbus Symphony. He came out and played the theme from Simpsons.
Actually, that's very much in the 19th century tradition.
Yeah.
Of doing improvisations or playing the encores based on very, very popular music at the time.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we do that in the 21st century? What
Exactly.
could be more common or more familiar? How long have they been on the show or on TV? 25 years or more?
Something like
I
that.
love this one episode. They've been on it's like the 20th anniversary of the show, so it was a few
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
Homer picks up the baby. What's Maggie?
Homer, Maggie. Yeah.
Maggie?
I think it's Maggie, yeah.
Picks up the baby. And he goes, when are you ever going to grow? She's permanently like a little toddler with a...
Oh, jeez. So, anyways, yeah,
Was it his own arrangement?
I think
Because the
so.
composer is Danny Elfman.
Yes,
It's really,
Danny Elfman.
I mean, he's up there with, not all the way up there with
John Williams.
John Williams, but he's
He's
won quite a
popular.
few awards or been
Yeah.
nominated for things
Yeah.
lately.
And he comes from a very interesting, he's had a very interesting journey.
Did he get his start with Tim Burton?
Now, before that,
Tim Burton?
before that, he did Tales of the Crypt.
Oh,
There's an old series called Tales of the Crypt.
that was on
that was his music.
HBO originally or something like that.
Well, I'm talking about the TV series.
Oh, that.
The TV series, not the movies, but the TV series.
Then there was a series that the Skeleton Guy did on HBO years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, the same skeleton guy where he talk, you know, he'd
I thought it
come
was
out and say,
like
"Hello, boys and girls."
Yeah.
You know, that was Danny Elfman's
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
You know, so, but from there he went on to Spider-Man and Edward
That was it.
Scissorhands.
Yeah.
And-
Scissorhands was Tim Burton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But interestingly enough, I don't know if this is factual or not, but apparently back then he didn't read music, and so a lot of it was improvised.
Wow.
And he later said he did eventually learn how to read music, and he's regretted it ever since because it's so much work. He says at least when he didn't read music, it was less work. He just had somebody else. I don't know if he had somebody else notated or he just stood there and got it on
That's very interesting.
computer or something. So
I wonder if he
knows?
didn't read music when he wrote the Simpsons theme.
yeah.
Because there's something about it which just kind of runs off at the mouth.
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's very memorable, you know.
Yeah.
Da, da, da,
Then there's always that
da.
little sequence where it's different every single
Yeah.
time. It's either what's her face playing her saxophone
Right.
or somebody singing off key in another
Well, isn't
episode.
Bart always writing a different punishment up on the blackboard every show?
Don't know.
It's always different.
different punishment.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't pay attention. I mean, I'm not a big watcher of the show, but from what
Off
I've
and
seen,
on, I've seen things over the
Yeah.
years.
maybe we'll bring that up in one of our segments called Guilty Pleasures. Think
Oh.
about it. Could be a thought. But anyways, like I said, what pianist did I just mention? John Kimura Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Kimura Parker. He not only played the theme from The Simpsons, he also would play like Scott Joplin rags as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something, you know, to put a smile on your face after having to sit, you know, watch him play a concerto after, you know, all that intense performance. So, anyways, this ends the all PSI's all pieces considered.
Okay.
So apparently you
That
have
was
some
kinda
stuff
cool.
there.
Oh, yeah.
I see he's been. I mean, this could easily be playing Swifter or something, but
Oh, we want to do this right now?
we could.
Because the guy, I'm sure the guys would love to have a hat.
You like that?
And they like to
You guys want to wear your hats? Yeah, I can see you want to wear that. Okay, well, we're going to, okay, I'll introduce one of our favorite segments. And I'm sure it's some of our viewers' favorite segments. To you people, welcome to PSI's High Plains Thrifter. This is So, viewers, old and new, welcome to High Plains Thrifter. I like the way I said that. I should do it more often that way.
Now,
So-
can you do it again even more like Clint Eastwood? You do Clint Eastwood, don't you?
Oh, I sort of did. That was the last episode, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Let's see. Let me get my Clint Eastwood mode. Welcome to PSI's High Plains Thrifter.
Yeah,
How's that?
not bad. A little quiet.
Still too quiet? Should I
Yeah.
move up closer? I don't know why, because his voice is kind of low when he does it.
Yeah, but you
He's
see
a little-
kind of girl. Remember like what's the great Italian spaghetti western?
Oh, Good, Bad, and Ugly?
Yeah. Can you do
Yeah.
that one? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm used to seeing playing
No,
Inspector
how about-
Callahan.
All right,
the
how
cop.
about Harry with that massive gun? With that.
Yeah, I know.
What does he say famously in that film?
He says,
Do you feel lucky?
he says, go ahead, make my day.
You feel lucky.
Oh, that's
What's that
Oh,
one?
he says. All right, it's one of my favorite scenes. It was he first did it in the movie The Enforcer, where he's pointing a gun at the one guy, and he says, oh, he says, you want to reach for that gun, don't you? Well, let me tell you, I'm holding a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world.
It's like getting hit with an artillery shell.
Can blow your head clean off. So, you gotta make a decision. you're going to grab that gun or not? Do you feel lucky? Punk. I got that scene almost memorized.
It's
That's
good,
pretty
man.
much it.
There you go.
He says, this is the most powerful handgun, 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world.
Yeah.
Can blow your head clean off.
Yeah, that's one of them kind of guns that makes up for other things. Come on, the barrel is like this long.
Oh goodness. So anyways, yeah, welcome to I Play Swifter. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
We're having a good time.
We're having too good of a time today. I almost forgot what segment we were doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing Clint Eastwood, but the mind just seems to go whoosh, out there.
Well, I just received this today.
You did?
And I bought it because I don't own this.
Okay, well, don't hold us in suspense. What is it?
Well, we were talking last week about the great conductors, God's favorite conductor. And I brought my other ones from my collection that I have, but this is the new one. Come on, this is what year is this? 2024.
2024.
So this is the 200th anniversary of the birth of Anton Bruckner. You know who he was? Bruckner. Let's put it this way. Do you know who he was? Okay, good for you. Have you listened to his music?
You guys don't know what you're missing. You gotta
Bruckner is... Well, some people are just like hit in the head and they're just immediately just stunned. Like, what was that, you know?
Okay.
Other people, it's an acquired taste. Some people, they never acquire the taste. Some people, I think, don't quite get it. I think with Bruckner's music, one might say, is just piling on sonorities and levels of activity throughout the orchestra and repetition. I think he understands some universal principles of mathematics about magic and numbers, and particularly the repetition of number 3. Which is an old Masonic thing, goes even farther back to the ancient mystery schools. Some people say, well, he just wrote one symphony, right, and just 9 versions of it. One can understand why some people say that, but when you really hear them, you have to listen. There is development, as you'd expect there to be. The 9th Symphony is unfinished. There's only 3 movements. No, that's Mahler's.
That's Mahler.
I think that the camera's sitting on. One of my... Well, anyway, what I bought was because this guy wrote this wonderful article. I thought I sent it to you.
You did.
British guy, probably. Audiophile. And he was writing about various recordings of Bruckner, famous conductors associated with his music. And he didn't come down and say this is absolutely the best, but he did say in some ways that he almost wanted to say that this is it. And certainly he said in terms of a very clearly worked out, very integrated vision of every single one of the works, the 9 symphonies, is Herbert von Karajan. And these are the recordings that were famously made in 75, 78, and then 80 and 81, I think, when he put them all down for Deutsche Grammophon. And I found this, I put some money up for with the tax and the shipping, it was $28.
Wow.
But for that stuff, I thought it's worth it.
Yes.
For von Karajan stuff. Now, there's a newer version that's come out where they've even done more editing, and it's available in Blu-ray discs, audio. It's not video, but it's printed on Blu-ray discs.
Wow.
Which, you know, apparently they're, in our day and age now, the ne plus ultra of recording medium. So some people are just, oh my God, this is just like being right in the middle of the orchestra. But I really do love Bruckner, and I didn't pull it out, but I was thinking that my first exposure to Bruckner, I have an LP, which is all my stuff is still good shape.
Yeah.
With a very young looking, very fuzzy hair, long. So this is
So
what I was
what?
talking about.
Whoa!
Pretty young, huh?
That's Daniel Barenboim.
Yeah.
Holy
Chicago
crap.
Symphony Orchestra in the 4th. Show them that picture. That was my first experience with Bruckner.
Boy, he doesn't.
This is what they call the Romantic Symphony, the 4th. And it's a bum 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 bum. It's got these wonderful brass moments in it, and Chicago Symphony remains brass section remains famously a big part of their orchestra. They've always managed to get incredible brass players. So that was my first exposure. And then I just brought some of my other Bruckner things that I've picked up because some people
I
recommended
see him wearing his wedding ring.
when he was
Think
with
it's still
Dupre, you think?
Dupre? I'm wondering if it is. What year is it? 1973, folks. 1973. I think he was still with her.
Yeah. Then here's a whole bunch of things. Here is Chicago and the Bruckner 4th with George Schulte, who was there for many years. Don't go yet.
I won't.
And I just want to show you a few different things you can show. This is one recording I love very much. This is the Columbia Symphony with Bruno Walter doing the 9th Symphony.
This is interesting. Have you heard much of a difference between the edition Haas and the Novak edition?
Oh, that's the other thing about Bruckner's music.
There's versions of it?
Well, and nowadays people are getting back to, like this year I've seen this.
Yeah.
One other collection that I would like to definitely get.
Yeah.
And I'd rather it be out for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm fine with used stuff. We're the guys who research the bottom of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Because let's put it this way: we have very highly cultivated taste, but neither one of us has the pocketbooks for what do they call it, Cadillac quality taste.
Yeah. Or Mercedes.
And frankly, I like a bottle of red Italian Tuscan table wine than French champagne any day. But no, I mean, I like what I was going to say is Christian Thielemann is one of the preeminent conductors in the world now. He's, I suppose, taken over that kind of lèse-majesté, kind of aura that Karajan once held in Europe.
Wow.
And Thielemann, he had a falling out with, what's her name, Carolina Wagner? Katharina, for a while, and he wasn't at Bayreuth, but now things apparently are good. He's going to go back to Bayreuth. He's been based in, was it in Dresden? Not sure, but he's going back to Berlin and stuff. But Thielemann is really quite well regarded in Europe, especially for his book Bruckner.
Wow.
And one of the things that he's done is most of the time gone back to the original Bruckner scores. Because Bruckner was derided. Poor guy in his life. He was a church organist. He's Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
He actually worked at the monastery in, I'll think of it in a moment, the eastern part of Vienna, where I actually went. I went to the place. I went to the church, saw his organ and all that stuff. It's in the same place where the Von Trapp family was
that
from.
place.
And I had fabulous Wiener Schnitzel monster pizza with the lemon on it at a little restaurant there. I can't think of the name right now. But Bruckner eventually moved to Vienna from the countryside. And I think it was from around Linz or somewhere, but out in the country and so forth. And he taught. He was a professor. But he was always... He's a bachelor because he'd been very much in love with one lady. It didn't work out. He never got hooked up. He was not gay. He's just a old Catholic bachelor, wore kind of semi-crappy clothes and everything. And I mean, but then people used to talk about Beethoven when he'd walk around Vienna, you know, singing to himself with his deaf ears, and, you know, grumbling and grouching, making all kinds of noise. Bruckner. Well, let's put it this way: these editions that people did, Novak and the other one,
Haas.
These were either students of his or disciples or something like that, but they actually felt we could make it better, or we could kind of arrange things, or do this or that, or cut things. And for some time, what you heard of Bruckner was really some version of Bruckner, or some slightly cut Bruckner, or something like that. Nowadays, they're starting to go back to the original full score, the way he'd done it, and give him credence for it. You know, in some cases, we're lucky to live in the time that we do. I was just reading a really interesting article, very much quickly on the side, about both nations and individuals beginning to return artifacts to the countries of the cultures from which they came. There was a huge, was it Northern African, some are famous, the masks and all these things. They were being returned. And this was a Danish family, which their father in the 1960s had been in the old Etruscan area, and this guy out of the back of his car sold him some stuff he dug up out of the ground, and they realized that now this stuff's been dated to like before the Roman era, in before Christ, hundreds of years, and the kids want to give it back to Italy, and they're trying to figure out the right process to go back to give it back so it can go back and be in the museums and stuff where it belongs. But it's not just a simple matter of putting it in a box and mailing it to the museum.
Jeez.
But there's an appreciation nowadays. We talked about this in the last show and occasionally. I think with the rise of an enthusiasm and appreciation for native cultures, creations, I suppose what it amounts to is that the old 19th century colonialist, supremacist culture of Western Europe, which kind of really dominated a large part of the world. In England at one time, in Queen Victoria's day, the sun never sets on the British Empire. It literally didn't. All around the globe, the Brits had their snake somewhere, right? I mean, there's these amazing composers and various people from around the world which are really getting their time in the sunshine. You know, and then on top of that, we're going back with a more sophisticated archaeological view, which is less biased by our own enculturated preferences and the way that we look at things, or the way we would distance ourselves from things that we find reprehensible behavior in this day and age. You know, when you think about the sexual mores of 19th century Victorian culture, which kind of influenced all of Europe, and then how they would interpret Roman and ancient Greek and ancient Egyptian finds, where we know, for example, as far as I know, I remember reading one time, the very first state-authorized wedding in Imperial Rome was two guys. Two men got married. They're homosexuals.
When was this?
In ancient Rome. This is the first time I ever read that. This is way before the church and everything. But, and we know that, for example, in, was it the Mount, wasn't it? It was the Vesuvius that blew up, destroyed Pompeii. Well, we now know with a lot of stuff they've recovered, there were brothels for men who went to seek the services of younger boys and young men.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah, come on. What's his name? Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
His partner was a man. There have been different cultures and different times when things have been different. But when you bring that reality into something as tightly knit as pre-Freudian 19th century customs, in some cases it was probably unimaginable, you know?
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is that what I am happy for, frankly, now, we seem to be willing to open our eyes and our hearts and our minds to whatever the reality was in the moment that something was created or existed. And so I got off on a kind of a tangent there, but suddenly Bruckner's original settings of his symphonies are okay.
Oh, well, thank goodness.
So this is what they're starting to record and do.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff would have been versions, and most of the people that did it, they knew that, but there were strong traditions of, well, this has been the accepted one for 60 years.
Yeah.
Because nobody would have thought, well, what did Bruckner write in the original? Oh, it was just way too many notes, and it was, you know, very repetitive, and he already said that one time, so we cut those 30 bars out.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Well, it must have been the thing, because I brought in a CD once. of the Beethoven's Ninth, remember? And it was an arrangement by Anton Bruckner.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting. Boy.
Well, now it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Beethoven's
it
Ninth.
doesn't try to be Beethoven's Ninth,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This was this thing where basically these people actually thought they were doing Bruckner a favor because he's a little dopey, maybe, or he didn't quite get it, or,
Yeah.
you know, he's kind of an odd kind of guy, you know, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. We love him very much, but maybe, you know, he got a little...
Yeah.
I mean, there was apparently quite a... some people were really very disrespectful in a kind of a... kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, to the guy.
Oh, boy, they had to whisper it, huh? They couldn't say it to the man's face. God.
Mahler, I believe, respected what he was doing.
Oh, beautiful.
But anyway, so you should give it a shot.
Yeah.
I know some people who can't stand it, but here's a few. These are particularly famous. These two guys. This is Eugen Joachim.
Eugen Joachim.
And this is highly regarded.
Yes.
And Günter Wandt.
Oh, Günter Wandt?
Just show them the cover.
Wow. Günter Wandt. One of my favorites. Maybe I'll bring in one of my recordings of Günter Wandt.
Did I show you that one?
Look at that. There you go. Which one?
The Bruno Walter.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
no, wait, not that one. I'm sorry.
That one already.
What was the other? Oh, yeah, it was George something. This.
And then here's two others,
Bruno.
which I bought because of recommendations. This one especially, I actually like this guy. He did some great work. Bernard Haitink with the
Oh, Bernard Haitink, yeah.
And then this one is Kurt Masur with his Gewandhaus Orchestra in Leipzig before, well, I don't know if he did it before he came over. But Masur was famously over there, and then after Europe opened up, he began to appear in the West, and especially in America. He became music director of the New York Philharmonic for a while. But this is with Mendelssohn's orchestra, the Leipzig Gewandhaus. The Kurt Masur was famously a director for a long time over there. This is in the communist days. And then this is more Bernborn, but he's with the Berliner Philharmonic Ensembles. I got that set pretty cheap. It was like $25, about the same as the from Cardigan. These ones at different times I paid a little bit for. Not outrageous, they're pretty nice. And this is one of my favorite sets.
Knapper's Bush.
It's not complete. Yeah, and this one, especially back in the day when he did this, these are versions,
Yeah.
historically famous ones of the original ones. But this is 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9. But I love his work, and I love the way he makes Bruckner sound so fresh. Hans Knappenbusch, he had a very interesting conducting style, which I admire. He talks about it too, but famously, people who remembered him, and I mean, he's 20th century.
Mhm.
He, he chose to stay in Germany and work there, and he had to be denazified for several years before they let him do things again. He was not a Nazi. He was not a friend of the Nazis. Didn't give a shit about Nazi this or that. But he was a German musician, and he wanted to work with German musicians because he used to say, he knew that most every fine orchestra he went to, they were extremely well trained. They knew the repertoire in and out because many of them had been there for a long time. They played nearly everything, and it was their responsibility to know it, and it was their responsibility to show up and know their parts. And so he was rather famous because he did not like long rehearsals, and he didn't get to, let's say famously like Carlos Kleiber does when he is lecturing to the orchestra about what he wants. And I can see some of the guys are just like, can we just get on and play the damn music, But then they play it extraordinarily.
Absolutely.
Because they're professionals, they need to do what the conductor says.
Yeah.
But Knappenbusch would just go in and he'd say, we're going to do this tempo. That's good. Next movement. Try this a little bit. Okay. And you understand when I bring you in at this point, just going to be like that. Just like little shorthand notes and things like that. Maybe an hour. And it basically said, okay, gentlemen, I know the music, you know the music, I'll see you tonight. Or I'll see you tomorrow night. And it's interesting because he made this assumption based upon a very powerful, well-worn tradition in Germany coming out of the 19th century, where these people were trained in the conservatories and schools. And there was a way to do things,
Yeah.
And you learned that as part of your tradition. And then you got in the orchestras, and they're all in Germany. They're all German trained, most of them. This is back in the day when there was still like the French school, and Italian orchestras, and then there was this German thing, And I have some wonderful. He was allowed to finally go back to Bayreuth, and he was a big one. He went back to Bayreuth in the 50s and I think the 60s, early-ish, or something like that. I have 2 different Parsifals, a Meistersinger. I think I have a ring. It's hard for me to remember right now, but all Knappenbusch.
Wow.
And of course, he had the best singers. And this is back in the time of why can't I remember names? the really famous Wagner brother, not Wolfgang, but his brother. I had met Wolfgang Wagner actually, but his more famous brother. I can't think of his name. It's also there. But
was
the great stage director after the war.
I was thinking the composer.
This is terrible that I can't remember. No. They were both Siegfried's kids, Wolfgang and his older brother, Wieland Wagner. Okay. And then these amazing, the singers. It was just a great historic time. But anyway, I especially like Knappenbusch because, there's famous YouTube videos of him performing Beethoven's Third Symphony, for example. His performances have a freshness about them that just, it's almost like the music's being invented at that moment.
Yeah.
he credited this, or people credited about him, to his non-over-rehearsed style. I think it's very clever, because especially if you mention like Bruckner sequences stuff, these guys were on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not having probably rehearsed something into the ground where they knew every moment, every concept, they could be just completely, I mean, I'm sure Falcaria really worked them hard and got them right around everything, but still had the power to pull it out of them.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that Knappensbusch kept control was they didn't know everything, how it was going to go or how it was going to happen. But there was that German thing where you pay attention to the conductor, you know. You don't screw with the conductor because you can get your ass yelled at. And possibly worse, they had the power to fire people.
Oh, yeah.
In many cases. So, anyway, so that's my little contribution. It all came from this, but I wish I could, I'll try to dig it up and see if I can find it.
Okay.
The article, but I should mention him by name because it was a long article. Yeah. Amazingly, I mean, really long. It's a British thing, obviously. Americans would never write that long and publish it. But, man, I don't know if it was from like Gramophone magazine or something like that, but he really does. If you're interested in that kind of thing, I will look up his name and see if I still have it saved in my phone, and I'll put it up if you want to look at it, because he had some really good insights, and I have listened to some of this stuff, and I agree with what he says about some of them. I mean, who remembers Eugen Yoko?
Oh,
or
I do.
Or
I do.
Günther Wand.
Yeah.
Or knows nowadays.
Yeah.
But wow.
Oh yeah.
Some of this stuff they were doing was really wonderful, really masterful. And for that matter, Bernard Haitink was with Concertgebouw for so long.
Years.
And they loved him in England as well. He used to go over to do the Royal Opera and stuff like that. And he was interesting because he was very quiet, and they said very gentle, somewhat soft-spoken Dutch, very typical Dutch kind of guy, you know. But apparently there was something about him that just drew. I think it was the gentleness of his heart and just a non-fussy way of looking at a wonderful. Never dull, I don't think, but just a very insightful performance that he was able to get the musicians to do without beating them or yelling at them or something. And then, but then, you know, at the time, I think, now some people said things have changed, but the Concertgebouw, when Haitink was directing them, was still part of a great tradition where it was regarded by a lot of Europeans as up there, Berlin, Vienna, and the Concertgebouw, equally enormously respected orchestras with amazing musicians in them who really functioned as a whole, as a body, as an instrument that the conductors could work with. Mengelberg was the great conductor for years of them. Probably helped influence that. But if I'm not mistaken, I thought Mahler may have directed them as well, or something like that.
Which symphony?
No, Gustav Mahler, the Concertgebouw.
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't know if it was him or it could have been Rudolf Walter, but they had a big reputation. Grieg loved the Concertgebouw. He mentions them. And also, it's interesting that Vienna and the Concertgebouw, the buildings that they've traditionally played in, are considered acoustic miracles, really remarkable places. So anyway, I guess that's my contribution. I don't think we talked about Bruckner this much.
No, we haven't.
But this has been his year.
Well,
So,
congratulations. Well, it's been 2 hours and 6 minutes. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
This is pretty good.
Oh, it's been a very good day. I had a lot of fun. Did you guys have fun? Oh, beautiful. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wonderful. You should listen to it more then.
Okay. Let's go over to your house and listen.
Yeah, sure. Okay, anyways, this is what we've been listening to, folks. This is what we've been playing. We've been
We actually
reading.
played some music today for him.
Yeah, we did.
Berliner Luft.
Yes. And once again, I'll direct my my challenge to you viewers. Listen to some Bruckner. Tell us what. Oh, well, heck. Listen to some of the music I brought in today, and tell us what you think.
Salon music.
Yes.
You can find this stuff up on YouTube.
Yeah.
We've got things like that. Or watch. I tell you, man, you're in for a blast if you watch
What?
Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile
Definitely.
with Peter Ustinov as
Poirot?
Yeah, Poirot as Poirot. Belgian, not French.
Okay, folks, if you enjoyed the content today, we had way too much fun.
Yeah, this is fun today.
Yeah. If you enjoyed our video, you enjoyed our company, our info, our topic of conversations, please give us a like and subscribe.
Put your thumbs up, guys.
Thumbs up, guys.
Right,
All right, very good. So, you know the MO. This is,
I'm Mark,
I'm Elmer, and we are Marc and Elmer's PSI,
Piano Scene Investigations. Bye,
See you at
everybody. See you
38.
next time.
Right, okay, right. Bye-bye.
Bye.